No Common War is a Civil War novel. And war novels are a little like baseball novels. They're about more than war, or they better be. And this novel is about fathers, sons, and wars. A Salisbury father sends a Salisbury son to war. The Salisbury father is standing for re-election to the New York State Assembly. It's 1861, Fort Sumter's been fired on. He wants his son in the Union Army. The son, Moreau, is at seminary at Cazenovia. The initial conflict is thou shalt not kill, versus the father saying, you must kill when it's necessary. Both Salisburys are wounded. Cousin Merrick, Cousin Moreau. Both their fathers have heard that one Salisbury was wounded at Second Bull Run, which had happened, but it wasn't that serious. They arrived the day after the battle. This is the heart of the book, and this is what makes this war and this book perhaps different from the perpetual war we're in now. You sent your son to war in the Civil War, and he got hurt. You went to find him. If you could afford it, to get him better medical care, and if he were dead, to bring his body back. The two Salisbury fathers find their sons among the wounded the day after the bloodiest single day in American history. It is a vision of hell. Imagine yourself going for your child. You have never seen war, and you arrive in 4 acres of the dead and dying, and as you probably know, medical services in the Civil War were chop, chop, chop. The two Salisbury fathers find the surgeon ready to amputate a foot or a leg. They each talk the surgeon out of amputating. And it's horrifying. The operations are taking place on tables, on flour, barrels. Piles of arms and legs are as tall as a man. Under the tables, there's blood that is curdling. Men are screaming. Men are waking up from chloroform and screaming. It is hell itself. And think of yourself as a father having to make this decision. Do I let the surgeon cut or not? The surgeon says one of these boys will live if he has a constitution of iron. The other will be dead in 10 days. So it happens. Moreau does survive. But afterwards, when he goes back to Sandy Creek, he has to run a piece of silk through his ankle once a day for a year to keep the wound from closing on the top. He falls into terrible depression. He is suffering from what we now call PTSD. They didn't have a word for it, but they certainly suffered from it. He becomes addicted to morphine. There was an opioid crisis during the Civil War because you can buy morphine in a little yellow bottle at any pharmacy. So all of this is so similar to what's happening now. What happens to a family when the young men go to war? What happens when the warriors come back? It's all confused with love and hate between 2 generations and opioids. And I think this book raises a lot of issues about not only what it's like to go to war, but who's left behind. How does it feel? How does a soldier that comes back wounded and terribly damaged, spiritually, psychologically, as well as physically, what does he have to go through to become a human being again? So when it comes to war, I want to say, as the old poster used to say, I want you, and I want you to think about war and what it means.